President Obama is heading to New Orleans this week to get an update on the recovery since Hurricane Katrina. Not everyone is happy with the trip. They say it's simply not enough. With me now, Congressman Steve Scalise. Congressman, good to see you. The president making two big events today, when he goes to New Orleans on Thursday, rather. Some of the criticism that I've read is that the agenda is too light. What do you make of what he has on the itinerary?
Well, a lot of us here in New Orleans want the president to actually see some of the issues that we're dealing with on the ground, not necessarily some little photo op, some kind of town hall meeting where you're talking to people. I mean, that's nice to know that he's going to be talking to people, but until you actually see the issues on the ground and go to the place, the breach where the levees actually broke, and see those issues that people are dealing with that we need help with from the president, those are the things that we really want the president to come down and do. Not something he did when he was a candidate for office, but actually now as president, where he can impact the decisions that need to be made. We want him to come on the ground and spend some real quality time so that he can help us with these recovery issues that we're still grappling with.
Well, Congressman, the White House says that in the 5 visits that President Obama has already made in times past, both as a senator and as a presidential candidate, that he has seen a lot of what New Orleans is challenged by. He's seen a lot of the obstacles, but that particularly he's looking forward to the town hall because it's an opportunity for the people who are living New Orleans every day to express to them what is of utmost concern.
Yeah, and I think that what people in New Orleans would tell the president is you're not going to be able to see some of those issues sitting in a school gym. You're going to actually have to go out onto the ground, walk the streets, walk those areas where we're still trying and struggling to get the help from the federal government that was promised. And in fact, President Obama, when he was a candidate for office, promised some very specific things like Category 5 flood protection, like coastal restoration. We still don't have those things yet. And so maybe the president needs to see a little bit more on the ground what those issues are so that we can get those real commitments from him now that he's president and he's in a position to help us with these issues specifically.
You know, it's interesting, too. I called the White House before I was doing this interview with you, and they said that the other thing they wanted to point out is that they have other cabinet secretaries going as well, Housing and Urban Development Secretary, Homeland Security Secretary, to be there as well and to fan out and to see some of those issues. What's interesting, though, is I interviewed your colleague, Congressman Bastani, who's from southwestern Louisiana, and his complaint was somewhat different. He thinks that New Orleans is getting all the attention. Let me play what he told me.
Clearly, New Orleans is important, and with good Category 5 protection in New Orleans, but the rest of the coastline is critical to the entire state and to New Orleans, for that matter.
Do you think that New Orleans gets an outrageous share of the attention, both from the president and from federal government officials?
No, and I think what we're all saying is that this entire Gulf Coast region hasn't gotten the adequate attention directly from the president. If you look both from southwest Louisiana and Congressman Bustani's area, all the way through New Orleans and the coast to Mississippi, and our friends in Mississippi, where the eye of the storm also went over, the president hasn't seen any of those areas since he's been president, so it's been over 10 months now. We want him to come here on the ground, not something he did when he was a candidate back a year ago, but now that he's president, where he can actually impact the decisions that need to be made and give us those commitments that he promised as a candidate and we still haven't seen yet.
Congressman, we'll wait and see what the president's takeaway is after he gets there to New Orleans and talks with some of the folks there. I do appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That wraps up this hour for me. I'm Contessa Brewer. Tamron Hall and David Schuster pick things up next. Senator John McCain says his